the sugar companies to be able to be productive. Let the strategic partner come with new machines. They also of the view that the issue of zoning should not be brought into focus because it undermines productivity and it undermines competition. Thank you very much.
Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to support this report for the simple reason that it is high time we rescued the sugar sector. This has been a problem that our farmers have faced for now too long. Mr. Speaker, I heard the Honorable Justice Kemei say that sugar is one of the most lucrative crops, sugarcane, in the world. And I agree with him, Mr. Speaker. And the question one would want to ask is how comes that it's only in Kenya where sugarcane growing has become a loss-making venture year in, year out. We know of countries, including our neighbors here, like Sudan, even Uganda, where sugarcane farming has remained as lucrative as you may want to take it. Mr. Speaker, so this is a good move. It's a good move, even though there are some gray areas that need to be ironed out. One of them is the matter of Mumias Sugar Factory. And my colleagues here agree with me fully. My colleagues from Western Kenya agree with me that unless and until you address the matter of Mumias Sugar Factory, which previously was accounting for about 60% of sugar production in the country, you will not have done justice to our farmers in Western Kenya. My own farmers from Ugunja sell their cane to Mumias Factory. And that's why I'm speaking from a position of authority. Mr. Speaker, we need to be told why Mumias is excluded from this program. Why? Is it because it's a private company? Even if it were, the public still has substantial shares in that factory. So I would suggest that even as we adopt this report, we go back and relook into the matter of Mumias Sugar Factory. Secondly, I want to endorse what was said by Honorable Karoli Omondi. For the first time, I want to agree with him. We differ substantially, on other issues out there. But on this one, I agree with him. You cannot gloss over the matter of Miwani Sugar Factory land, over 10,000 acres, that has been grabbed by well-known persons as you talk about writing off debts. What are you talking about? How do you rescue Miwani without taking back the land that has been grabbed by well-known persons? We want to see heads rolling, Mr. Speaker. They were told that people must withdraw court cases to allow the sector to move. Mambo masiyu mangapi? I don't know. What I know is that the same force that was used to force those litigants to withdraw their cases should have been used to force these masqueraders in Miwani to withdraw those cases so that the land can revert back to the public. Yes. Yes, what is good for the goose, Mr. Speaker, I heard you say is good for the gander. Yes. What is good for Mumias is good for Miwani, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Finally, as we go out looking for these strategic investors, let us ensure that we apply transparency. Transparency and accountability. We don't want this program to be a conduit for bringing in people who are already being identified, even as we debate here. I'm aware that there are people already angling around the country. Some are in the airport, some are all over here, waiting for this motion to go through so that they can lay claim on Mumias, Miwani, Muhoroni, Soni. Mr. Speaker, we shall be very vigilant. And if you dare step on our factories with a view to grabbing them, we shall deal with you. Thank you. I support. Yeah.
Maclap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I like the fashion of the people of the sugar growing area. Mr. Speaker, I am a pastoralist and I witnessed presentations from Kenyans who are growing sugar. Mr. Speaker, it is so disparate that I believed that there was now what has been going on in the sugar industry, Mr. Speaker, has been actually banditry of the sugar industry. It is true that the objective of the National Treasury and this government, Mr. Speaker, is to make sugar growing a profitable venture for the people of Kenya. It is meant, this report, Mr. Speaker, is meant to bring people from out of poverty. And Mr. Speaker, the 5 sugar factories owned by government, Mr. Speaker, has continued to make a lot of losses for quite a lot of time. And I want members to listen on the background of this because it was a presentation. We asked why is it that there are arrears of people who supplied sugar to the factories, and yet the sugar has been milled and sold, and the farmers are not getting the money. The Speaker was shocked by the answers. The Speaker was shocked by the answers because the farmers have brought the sugar has been sold, and the farmers do not have their money. And the answer we were given was shocking, Mr. Speaker, that the people who are living in the growing sugar areas must know that the 5 sugar factories has been captured, and they go and look for brokers and cartels to bring money in advance to the factory in the name of helping them pay their problems, and then they sell the sugar to them at a cheap price. So when they sell the sugar at a cheap price, they are unable to pay the farmers who brought the sugar. That is how the farmers in this Western Kenya have actually suffered for a long time because of capture of the state-owned factories. Mr. Speaker, this committee, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank them because, Mr. Speaker, even when Treasury gave us penalties, arrears, principal interest of 50 billion, when we called upon KRA to bring their data, Mr. Speaker, the tax collector of Kenya, KRA, brought a figure of 16 billion. Mr. Speaker, the committee led by my vice chair, my vice chairman, Mr. Kimari Kuria and Dr. Kitonga, actually, we actually overruled and removed 50 billion that the National Treasury had brought forward as a writing off. The real figure, we used the tax collector, the KRA of 16 billion. You can imagine the difference, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is why we realized that, again, there was no safety net of employees of the sugar factories, Mr. Speaker. And we propose, therefore, that in the write-off is to pay the employees so that whoever is going to lease this land, Mr. Speaker, will start from a clean slate, will not be unorganized, will be able to run a clean business that will be able to bring money to the farmers. Mr. Speaker, the end product is the Wanjiku, the people in the lower cadre should actually benefit from the sugar growing area, Mr. Speaker. They should be able to make money out of this particular business, Mr. Speaker. And to ensure that their land is not lost, we brought this lease program, Mr. Speaker. We say the lease program needs to be understood by the farmers in those areas, Mr. Speaker, so that the land will actually be referred to the people living in those particular areas after the expiry of the lease, Mr. Speaker, which is a good thing other than privatization, Mr. Speaker, because the whole thing, they have taken the land. Mr. Speaker, the last thing that I want, and I want a minute, Mr. Speaker, is actually there is need for research for growing of sugar. I realized most of the sugar in those areas, Mr. Speaker, I went around, are more like napier grass.
Onyango Koyo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand here as the biggest beneficiary of this reform. That
Try and now take 2 minutes each so that this interest can be...
the report that was here will be best cured by the intended or the impending sugar bill that has been tabled by Honorable Wanangwe. I want to talk about the case of Miwani Sugar Company because that is my ancestral land. Honorable Speaker, as Honorable Karoli said here, Miwani Sugar Company was the oldest company, and the land in which the raw materials grown were donated by the locals whom I represent in Parliament. Sometimes in 2008, somebody purportedly bought this land in an auction, and serious investigation was mounted as and when PLO Lumumba was the head of EACC. It came out from the report that there was never an auction, there was never lands bought, there was never money paid. Up to now, you cannot be shown that so many millions were paid from this point to this point in a bank or via this check. But we continue to hear that the land is being transferred to the hands of some locals. I am pleading that now in law, you are a serious lawyer, Honorable Speaker, there's a word called precedent. Now that as precedent has been set in dealing with the case of Mumias, I suggest that if the same bill, the government should move and deal with the case of Miwani faster than Mumias, because this one is stark fraudulence. There's no proof that land was bought, and this case had been handled up to the court of appeal by Justice Mwera, when court of appeal was the apex court. We are wondering how an environmental land court came here to review and reverse what the court of appeal gave, the judgment that it gave in 2008. We are appealing that the best way to cure this ill is for the government to use the same style that was done with Mumias. On behalf of my constituents, I appeal that that be done immediately, and that I appeal with my members, colleagues, that when this sugar bill is tabled here, when we are going for a third reading.
Emmanuel Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this report by the committee, the joint committees. And Honorable Speaker, mine will be that the National Treasury need to be aware that even themselves, they are the originators of corruption. And Honorable Speaker, how does it happen? I want to thank the committee, Honorable Speaker, because it picked up an issue which was very fundamental. When you look at the wording of the report, the memorandum, Honorable Speaker, it talks of the mills being disposed of as a scrap within the provisions of the law on public procurement and disposal rules. Honorable Speaker, where on earth are you going to recommend already a scrap? National Treasury, Honorable Speaker, was inviting corruption in this case, and I would wish, Honorable Speaker, that the joint committee should have recommended proper reprimand of the Treasury officials. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the committee very vehemently that they have now made it available that we have resources, funds for the farmers, and also money is made available through this report to employees. Employees have suffered, and I want to thank the honorable member, especially the chair of finance and the chair of agriculture, that you have now thought it good that these employees can finally be paid, and farmers who took their time to invest into this model can now be paid their dues. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I wish to appreciate the committee that the model of leasing is appreciated. The kind of leasing, Honorable Speaker, rather than the issue of privatization, is an issue which is welcome. However, Honorable Speaker, allow me to express my disappointment that Mumias is not in this report. However much we say that Mumias is private, Honorable Speaker, Miwani is 49% government and 51% private, Honorable Speaker. The CR12 indicates so. Why is it that Miwani Sugar can get its way into this report, Honorable Speaker, and Mumias, which has 20%?
Ndindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to support this memoranda from the National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, it is the right time that we think about reforming our sugar mills and the sugar sector generally, Honorable Speaker, because looking even at the data of our country, we need to do much more in terms of spurring production of sugar within the country. Number one, so that we look inwards in terms of our supply chains, but also, Mr. Speaker, it will go a long way into bridging the gap between our exports and imports. Mr. Speaker, any effort we put towards more production of sugar, like any other agriculture, the other side of it, doing import substitution. And generally, Mr. Speaker, this is very good for our economy. But holistically, The issue of having a lean government, Honorable Speaker, is an issue that we must keep on checking at the House. Honorable Speaker, I say so because the government must do the least in terms of the commercial sector, because the government should be doing what the government should be doing. That is enabling other industries, Honorable Speaker, and also checking on them, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I am one of the ardent supporters of the fact that we need to reduce all the government-related, government-owned entities from the current, which is over 500, Honorable Speaker. We leave only that which the government should do. The government should be lean, because when we have a small government, we have big people, Honorable Speaker, figuratively speaking. We must go beyond sugar, what we are doing in terms of leasing. We must go into the commercial sector. There is no reason, for example, the government of Kenya should be owning a bank. And even in those banks the government owns, in a sector that is making supernormal profits, the government...
Peter Salasia.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you. I have the following observation. Last time when we had the committee meeting as a finance and agriculture, we had a very interactive session with the stakeholders. And I can support 100. I want to thank the memorandum that came from the Treasury. And I can tell you that the leasing model, because you realize that most of these companies, like even the Mumias that is being talked here, what really made it to undergo the situation where it is right now is because of the poor privatization model that was used. So I stand to support 100% the model that we have used, because we have realized that this company, these state-owned factories, sugar factories, they cannot compete with the private sectors, because they don't have the capacity to have the new machine and also do diversification, value addition, and other factors that are encompassed in. I also want to thank the committee and for the MOCO, which has been so pertinent in contributing the production of cans. And I want to support the zoning for this matter, because there's no any way that you can allow somebody to travel miles and miles of kilometers just to travel to transport cans from there. There is also other extra cost that will also come in, and these things will also come back to the farmer. So I want to ask the members to support zoning, so that because of the little land that is available to us, the millers can focus there and develop cans, so that we can increase the productivity. Meanwhile, I want to thank the president for the maneno matatu is in the Bible, whereby they say that whoever does not respect the God and mfalme wa inji, maneno ni matatu, amrishwe, afanye nini. So those cases in Miwani, we're also asking the president.
Yes. David Ocheng.
Mr. Speaker.
Remember, I've curtailed your time to 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a very happy person this evening. Because, Mr. Speaker, I believe this is the beginning of the rejuvenation of the sugar sector in this country, Mr. Speaker. This is the beginning of returning the sugar sector to the farmers themselves, who should be benefiting from the sugar farming in the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 3 things that are going to happen this evening that I applaud. One, Mr. Speaker, we are writing off debts worth more than 50 billion. Things that only happen to sugar, that only happen to tea and coffee. 50 billion of farmers' loans. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, we are paying farmers' arrears worth almost 7 billion. And 3, we are paying salary arrears to the companies Zoya Sugar, South Nyanda Sugar, Miwani, Chemelil, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure that at the end of this evening, Mr. Speaker, our farmers will now know how they'll own their industries. Number 2, how long, and I believe that we should change this to make sure that there's 20 years, not 30. That is almost a lifetime now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask those who will be charged with running these sugar industries to do so with utmost good faith, trust, and ensure that farmers are able to benefit, so that our people can also be part of this country's economic rejuvenation. Thank you.
Naika. Member for Mumias West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am one of the happiest people today because Mumias Sugar factory stands in my constituency. We have really suffered. If you go to Mumias town, it is just a shell. Although the Treasury has not put a report of Mumias Sugar here, but we trust what the President said when he visited us, by removing the cartels who were in Mumias Sugar. And he promised us. And what I want to say, and I want my party leader one day to hear this, mambo ni matatu. That one you have to support us in the Western. Don't meander around things. We have been suffering. Mambo ni mangapi? Mambo ni mangapi? Either aende heaven, aende jela, ama arudi kwa, lakini Mumias iwe nini? Revived. Hiyo ndio kitu mimi nataka kuongea hapa, Mr. Speaker, and we are one of the happiest. But this bill, this report, ingizwe Mumias Sugar na dates ziwe written off.
There is a point of order
Mr.
from your
Speaker,
leader.
I want to interrupt my good friend, the Honorable Naika, and my good neighbor for that matter. I heard him calling for my attention that I should listen carefully.
Yes.
And yet I haven't heard what was meant to be directed to me to act upon.
Now you
I don't know. So,
order.
so I don't.
Honorable Wandai, you are just being cheeky. You had him. Go on.
Yes.
You had him loud and clear.
He's supporting us halfway. This is what we don't want. That is the difference between us, Nyanza and Western. We are telling them openly. Hatutaki kuficha hii mambo. Mumias Sugar must be revived. We have suffered enough. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kandui. Okay, I'll give you. Member for Kandui.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the...
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. 3 things. I support wholeheartedly the government's efforts to write off the debts. And I just pray that this time round, let us have a clear balance sheet, because these debts were written off in 2012, but they have still been appearing in the books. I wholeheartedly support the payment of farmers and employees of Nzoia Sugar, people who have failed to send their children to school because of non-payment. We cannot have a sector that is not controlled, Honorable Speaker. I therefore support the establishment of the 5 catchment areas and for the development of regulations to guide the conduct of the sugar sector. We are having chaos in the sugar sector because of poaching, absence of regulations. And equally, I support the funds to be put towards supporting the Kenya Sugar Research Institute to enable us to be able to develop new early maturing canes to be able to pay our farmers. But in respect to leasing, Honorable Speaker, I want to be very, very clear that this leasing must be done above board. I have looked at the recommendation. I'm seeing the leasing is going to be done for 30 years. 30 years is too long a period of time. 2, I have looked at the recommendation, the nucleus and the land that it is being recommended that the lands go back to their original owners. I don't think we need to return back to the original one because people were displaced. These lands were taken over by government. So we need to develop a system where farmers consistently begin taking over this particular industry so that they can be able to run it. Any recommendation that is pro-farmer to empower the farmer to run this particular industry is ultimately welcome. But we must do away with the sugar barons and the sugar economic bandits who have brought the confusion in this particular sector by importing sugar and doing cane poaching. As Honorable Naika says, mambo ni matatu. We must bring this sector to its senses. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bukose. I'll give you. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to support this report, memorandum by the National Treasury and Economic Planning on action plans to revive and commercialize state-owned sugar companies. Honorable Speaker, for a long time, state-owned sugar companies have actually been mismanaged. They've suffered from looting and corruption. And I think the position the President has taken is, is supported by everybody on this House, including my friend Obiyo Ndai and his team. And I think this is the way to go as a country, that when something is good and is being done that is helping Kenyans, all of us must appreciate it and must give it our full support. And not just this one alone, but many other programs which we've seen the president put in place to make this country go in the right direction. We've seen the production efforts being put in the production, especially bringing down the cost of living. And I think, to me, that is something that is laudable and is something that is in the right direction. And I think our country now is taking the right trajectory, and we should be able to support. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the memorandum.
Thank you, Honorable Ukose. Nabi Nabwera. Give Honorable Nabi the mic. You're giving the wrong location. There's one next to you there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You have 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report. Mr. Speaker, this report goes a long way in reviving the sugar industry. However, Mr. Speaker, the issue about Miwani must be captured in its right context. I was the Joint Secretary of the Sugar Task Force, and we clearly found out that the land is government land. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this report with a recommendation that the debt of Mumias, that 3,654,593, be included in this report. And my reasoning, Mr. Speaker, is that Mumias is a national interest, is a public interest. Just like the government bailed out KQ when it was a private company, we should use the same principle to bail out Mumias. Secondly, the government has a shareholding of 20%. It is an interest that the government can come on board and therefore save Mumias. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Wamboka, have 2 minutes. Give him the mic.
Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I want to support the report, particularly that farmers who are owed money, farmers of Nzoia Sugar Company, workers of Nzoia Sugar Company who are owed money for the longest time are going to be paid. I also support the Mambo ni Matatu. It pains me, Honorable Speaker, when foreigners, thieves, barons take our companies as a battleground, Honorable Speaker. When people want to fight on the land, on the field of Mumias Sugar Company, Honorable Speaker, and it's as if the government cannot do anything, we cannot do anything, that's unacceptable. And on that note, the Rai, in fact, he should have faced one of the three, this Rai, so that for the survival of sugar industry, Akwe, let him be a lesson to anybody who will want to dare to joke with the sweat of the people, who will want to steal the money of the people, Honorable Speaker. They will stop it. So for that, I support this report. I support, Honorable Wangwe is interfering with me. I support this report, Honorable Speaker, so that the farmers of Nzoia Sugar Company, for once again, they can smile. They can take their children to school. They can even have weddings. Their wives can deliver in a decent way, Honorable Speaker. I support this report. They have done a good thing. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Omongina.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm Cherusha Mongina, not your Mongina. From the onset, I support the report of this Treasury report simply because as we were growing as young people, we understood that Kenya was thriving on an economy which pegged on agriculture. And in school, we were told that agriculture is the backbone of the economy of Kenya. And indeed, the sugar industry was one of those economies which made Kenya, even where people were coming from outside the world to come and benchmark. Countries which have grown benchmarked from Kenya, and it was because of industries like the sugar industries. Now that the report has come and it is going to make sure that the debts which have been there for so long, that the people who had worked so hard, who were not being paid, are going to be paid. I support this report, and I'm one of those who are supporting the three major issues which the president talked about. And indeed, our president is going to fix this country if we go by what he has been proposing. So I want to support and say that the sugar is going to be revived, and most of our people are going to be rich because of the revival of the sugar industry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
A minute each. Malulu Njendi, 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I want to thank the President of this country for his goodwill towards cane farming. It's actually his initiative that we are where we are, and therefore I support this report fully, that debts have to be repaid by the government. However, Mr. Speaker, I want to ask Treasury of the government. We have the persons who have caused farmers to suffer. I'm aware of some persons who actually borrowed money from Mumias, over 200 million, 500 million, and these people are walking around in the country. Mr. Speaker, as we write off the debts, the persons who have stolen this money must be actually brought to book. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kagombe, 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support this report. And Mr. Speaker, one of the things that we found in these sugar areas is the issue of governance. When there is poor governance, the sugar industry will continue suffering. And I think that the privatization model that we've taken is not enough. These industries, these millers must revert to the farmers, actual farmers, like the tea farmers have taken over the tea factories, and guide them. And I would like to persuade Honorable Salasia here that the zoning that they want to introduce is going to kill the industry, because you're going to have a farmer who wants to take his cane to a certain factory and cannot get the proceeds, and they're going to suffer. Therefore, what we got from the people on the ground is that they want it to be liberalized so that we are able to fetch better markets and so that we kill this monopoly that has been happening. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Rangwe, Ndiwa, 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As they say in medicine, you have to stabilize a patient. Let's pay our farmers, pay our workers, so children can go to school. As we speak here, there's so many children who are not going to school. That's point number one. Number two, this leasing model, let us have a good legal framework. Otherwise, it can be abused and also can evoke emotion, the same emotion land brings, and we cannot succeed in that. The issue which also came from farmers, and I think is very important, members, is about the extension workers, which is missing in all this, and that is depressing the yields, the good sucrose. We talked about sucrose content, and lastly, the poaching. It's not about the zoning. Let's stop the poaching. There's a provision here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also put my word in this very important report. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I would like to congratulate the two chairs. They have done a wonderful job, and you can tell that they put their time in this. Now that it is 1 minute, Honorable Speaker, let me be sharp and just go to the rhetorical question which I want to ask. Mr. Speaker, for how long have we known that we can plant sugarcane that can last 6 months and we harvest? And why is it that, Honorable Speaker, we have had governments that have been putting farmers in the agony of spending 36 months waiting to harvest sugar? Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank Kenya Kwanza government. I want to thank the President and to say that he is going to take this country very far, and agree with the other members that mambo ni matatu in the sugar sector. This is a sector that must be handled very quickly, very fast, because the people who are there are...
Nabulindo, you have a minute. Give Nabulindo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, first, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for giving me this chance. And I would like to say that I oppose this report. I'm opposing this report because when I look at the list of the companies listed, Mumias Sugar is not there. And as long as Mumias Sugar is not there, and I represent 100% farmers, sugarcane farmers, I will not support this report. So therefore, if later on they can introduce an amendment to include Mumias Sugar in all this engagement, then I'll support the report. But for now, I oppose it.
Member for Kitutu. Take your seat, Nabulindo. Give Kitutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support this report.
You have a minute.
I want to support this report on the sugar because in Nyanza region, sugar sector is our coffee, is our tea, and it's our goal. So this report, I want to support it fully because there are cartels who have been in this sector who have managed to make sure that our farmers are not paid well. And I want to support it because our farmers from now henceforth, they are going to get their dues and they are going to make sure that their kids go to school well and they get back their money. And to the cartels, as they say, mambo ni matatu. Either you go to heaven or you go to jail or you go somewhere else. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Makoha Odanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support this report.
You have a minute.
And it is good that government pulls out of businesses because we know government to be a very poor businessman. Mr. Speaker, lease model is being recommended, and we heard it from stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, even as we agree to the lease model, proper due diligence must be done because lease is quickly becoming the new model of land grabbing. And Mr. Speaker, Mumias Sugar Company, which is under receivership, should be included in this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. This is the time we agreed. So I'll indulge the majority leader. Kimani, how much time do you need for reply? If you have 1 minute, then I'll give majority leader 5 minutes like your counterpart.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I also join other members, except the Honorable Nabulindo, who I had opposed this report,
give you a minute.
in supporting this report. But maybe if I may begin by informing the Honorable Nabulindo, and I am sure there are also other members from Mumias, the larger Mumias area in Western Kenya, who are asking the question of Mumias Sugar Company. And indeed, they have a very good point in that Mumias also needs to be rescued. But he knows that Mumias is 20% owned by the public or by government and 80% private, by private investors. But I want to assure him that there are also measures to ensure that Mumias is also rescued from the abyss that has bedeviled the sugar sector. And that, Honorable Nabulindo, will ensure that even the people of the greater Mumias area benefit from the sugar sector reforms to ensure that money gets back to the people's pockets in Mumias and other areas in the sugar belt. Honorable Speaker, part of the proposals in this memorandum by the National Treasury is the write-off of debts and taxes owed to GOK or to the government of Kenya, and penalties also owed to KRA by the sugar companies. And indeed, I want to support this measure that even as we seek to commercialize and privatize them, there is no private investor who will want to put their money in a company or a state entity that is bedeviled with a lot of liabilities, including tax liabilities, Honorable Speaker. And indeed, I support that measure to write off the debts that were owed to the government of Kenya, to make them more attractive to investors who will bring in their private capital, private expertise, and make these sugar companies more efficient, and therefore end up guaranteeing farmers more money getting into their pockets. Honorable Speaker, I've also had concerns on the period of time, and I think it's the Honorable Makali who raised the issue of the period of 30 years. But Honorable Speaker, it's also good to appreciate that if you are to lease land and assets for a private investor to be able to have a bankable proposal, then the period of time of the lease, of time when the investor will be able to recoup their investment, their capital investment, be able also to make a profit out of the investment. And therefore, I want to encourage even those who have that concern to appreciate that we are bringing in private capital. And even you as a private investor, you will not want to get into a lease agreement where you have 5 years. Even people who are leasing land today to develop petrol stations and all that, nobody is going for a lease for 5 years. You are looking for 20, 25 years. And therefore, I want to encourage those members who have that concern that indeed all those issues are issues that the National Treasury has looked into. Finally, Honorable Speaker, Mumias, Honorable Speaker, and I've heard even the Honorable Selassie has now considered that truly mambo ni matatu. That even the cartels that had taken over Mumia Sugar, Honorable Speaker, because they enjoyed the protection of state protection because of state capture, Honorable Speaker, we must today tell them loudly enough that that protection is gone and it shall never come back. And therefore, they must now socialize themselves to the Mambo ni Matatu gospel. And that they must get used to it. And that includes also their sponsors, Honorable Speaker. Because if they were facilitated through state capture, they had people who had access to political power who protected them, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, even as the Honorable Navulindo speaks about Mumias, and I know the Wanga people are very keen on Mumias because they surround that area of Mumias. And I know his party leader, because he's a member of the ODM, also owes Mumias Sugar Company close to above 300 million shillings. I want to ask the Honorable Navulindo to ask the party leader of ODM to now pay up the money he owes to Mumia Sugar Company, so that Mumia Sugar Company also benefits from this commercialization, Honorable Speaker.
Yes,
because we cannot have a situation where
majority. There's a point of order from Wandai.
Mr. Speaker, I think we are doing so well up to the point where Honorable Chungwa has started to digress in a very, very fundamental way. Mr. Speaker, it is not right within our standing orders for Honorable Chungwa to allege or to claim that the leader of ODM, and there's only one leader of ODM, there is only one leader of ODM, that the leader of ODM owes Mumias Sugar Company 300 billion shillings. Why would that be an allegation allowed to happen in this, on the floor of this House? You all know. So can he table evidence that the leader of ODM owes Mumias Company that kind of money, or withdraw and apologize? Because otherwise that would be scandalizing in the name of somebody who cannot defend themselves on the floor of this House. Mr. Speaker, I plead with you.
Chungwa.
The leader.
Honorable Speaker,
your time is up.
Honorable Speaker, you know, Honorable Speaker, I was saying, it is only right that if you are writing off debts owed to the public, owed by these sugar companies to KRA, and that is public money,
even individuals and private companies that all the sugar companies should and must pay up. Honorable Speaker, on the question of the leader of ODM, it is in public domain, including documents tabled in this House previously, including audit reports that the leader of ODM owes Mumias. Na mambo ni matatu, he has to pay. And either
Your time
pay
is up.
or pay.
Order. I'll indulge the Honorable Nyamita 1 minute from the Sony zone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this particular report. Mr. Speaker, I think this is the true and most relevant attempt at truly bringing the cost of living down. Because when you waive the debts and pay farmers and pay employees their money, then it means that money is going to go into circulation. Previous attempts to revive sectors, Mr. Speaker, we have only seen the tea, coffee, and other sectors, including Mira, getting this sort of treatment. That this time the sugar industry has been considered, this is a really great move. Mr. Speaker, in Sony Sugar, 860 million for farmers, about 1.1 billion for salaries arrears is going to be a big boost. All we want is that before the private sector takes the reins, we want that proper public participation.
Kimani, Chairman, Honorable Kimani, you
Honorable-
wanted 2 minutes, I'm giving you the 2 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I really want to thank the members for this
And
very
I
robust.
want you to also give the House an assurance on 2 things, Mumias and Miwani land.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the robust conversation that you've had this afternoon. There is a true spirit of debate. If you check the document that National Treasury gave these 2 joint committees and what we presented to this House, we have really enriched this report and made fundamental implications and commitments. And on the 2 matters, Honorable Speaker, that have been quite elusive, on the issue of the 30 years lease, I want to indicate or to give the assurance to this member that the lease model actually proposes that the lease will be reviewed after every 5 years. So even if it's a 30-year contract, there will be a review of 5 years to make sure that it is in adherence to the interests of the farmers. Second, Honorable Speaker, the issue of Mumias Sugar Company was something that came out during public participation, was something that came from the sugar conference that we also borrowed a lot of recommendations from, and we have actually asked National Treasury within 60 days, they must bring recommendations that I will table in the floor of this House of how to help Mumias Sugar Company go back to profitability, go back to support the economy of the Wanga people. On the issue of the 10,000 acres owed in Miwani Sugar Company, we only faced one legal hurdle because the matter is actively in court, and therefore the doctrine of sub judice and our standing order number, I think it's 89, would have barred us from making resolutions with something actively in court. However, having said that, we are going to indulge the company. We are going to go back to Western and make sure that within 60 days we'll bring a report on the solution for Miwani Sugar Limited. So I want to give the commitment of the Departmental Committee of Finance and Agriculture, Finance and National Planning, and with concurrence with my co-chair, the Committee of Agriculture and Livestock Development, that will come back with this House with a solution for those 2 additional companies. And with that, I beg to reply, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman of committees, you should always prosecute your cases with such clarity. And the clarity that Murugara exhibited this afternoon. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that this House adopts the joint report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on its consideration of the memorandum by the National Treasury and Economic Planning on Action Plan to revive and commercialize state-owned sugar companies, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 14 September 2023. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Yes, Wandai. On the same matter?
Certainly not. Mr. Speaker, just want to indulge me. Understanding order number 1. I know we are in a hurry to go to the next order. Mr. Speaker, you know, under, I think, Article 209 of the Constitution, the Auditor General is under an obligation to undertake audits every financial year on ministries, state departments, and indeed government entities. Mr. Speaker, it has been confirmed now clearly that Miwani Sugar Factory is a public entity owned by the government, or the public for that matter. And yet, for the last 10 or more years, the Auditor General has not undertaken any single audit of that factory. I want to urge you, Mr. Speaker, that you use your chair, use your authority to direct the Auditor General to bring a report to this House as to why she has not been able to audit Miwani Sugar Factory for more than 10 years now. Under what law has she been operating for her to fail to undertake such a primary responsibility under the Constitution, Mr. Speaker? Kindly direct the Leader of Majority to compel the Auditor General to bring to this House a report, and very expeditiously, even as to continue with these
Honorable
reforms.
Wandai,
Yes.
your own member Wangwe is gesturing that he seized of the matter in his committee. So what you are saying may not be accurate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what my minority leader is saying is correct. And indeed, this house, my committee, PIC on Social Service, Admin and Agriculture, has invited the Auditor General next week on Monday on the same issue to tell the committee as to why she has not been able to audit Miwani Sugar. Yet, Honorable Speaker, it is deemed to be a public company.
Sorry, Wandai, I had misunderstood his figurative language. Honorable members, we now end there. Majority Leader, you may have, when we resume, check on the veracity of the allegation by the Honorable Wandai as Leader of Government Business in the House. You are duty to the country that all state entities are properly managed, properly audited, and properly run in the interest of the people of Kenya. So if Miwani is government-owned, as it's alleged, check your facts, check with the Treasury, check with the Auditor General, and you may, at an appropriate time, bring a statement to the House. Thank you. Honorable members, you may be upstanding. Sorry, we have to call the next order first. I'm moving faster than the clerk.
Order number 12, Committee of the Whole House.
Thank you. Now, be upstanding, honorable members.
Order members. Order members. We are now in the Committee of the Whole House for the Privatization Bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that Clause 3 be part of the bill. I now put the question that Clause 3 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Mover. Chair Finance, this is privatization bill. We are on clause number 4. Move your amendment.
Honorable Speaker, I beg that clause 4 be amended as per the order paper, that the clause 4 of the bill be amended by deleting sub-clause 2. Sub-clause, and I beg to move, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, just to explain to members what you're doing, this amendment is seeking to delete sub-clause 2 of the clause of the bill which provides that the National Treasury may, on its own or through the authority, provide technical support and assistance to county government with regard to privatization by county government. It being a National Assembly bill, Honorable Speaker, we thought that we did not want to delve into the functions of county governments. Therefore, deletion of clause 2 removes that responsibility or suggestion of that responsibility that the privatization authority could help county governments in privatization of county programs.
Chairman, confirm we are amending clause 4, sub-clause 2.
Yeah. I confirm that Honorable Chair, I move that clause 4 of the bill be amended by deleting sub-clause 2.
Good.
And I was explaining what sub-clause 2 provides, the issue of privatization of entities in county governments.
All right, I then propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 4 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 5, 6, 7, and 8.
I propose the question that clauses 5, 6, 7, and 8 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 5, 6, 7, and 8 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I move that clause 9 of the bill is amended by inserting the following new paragraph immediately after paragraph E, that is EA, that the authority prepare a long-term divestiture sequence plan, and EB, that monitor and evaluate the implementation of privatization programs in the country. The proposed amendment, Honorable Chair, seeks to provide for additional functions for the privatization authority, which seeks to strengthen the authority in achieving its mandate, specifically by introducing this new role of preparing long-term divestiture sequence plans. Divestiture plans are those plans where an institution may want to privatize part of the entity and not the whole entity. With that, I move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 9 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 9 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 9 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I propose the question that clause 10 be part of the bill. Mover, Chairperson.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 10 be amended as per the order paper. I will, however, Honorable Chair, beg to move that clause B be further amended as follows, deleting paragraph E and substituting therefore the following paragraph, that 4 other members not being public officers nominated by the Cabinet Secretary through a competitive process, and deleting the words and approved by the National Assembly. So, and then each possessing a degree in either economics, accounting, finance, or any other relevant degree from a recognized institution, and having 10 years of work experience, of which 5 shall be in senior management level in relevant field. This further amendment, Honorable Chair, removes the responsibility of National Assembly from approving the board, because we realize that converting the commission to a board will therefore not necessitate that those board members come to the National Assembly for approval.
I now propose the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 10 be, as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 12 be amended as per the order paper, and this is just correcting grammatical errors that were on the bill.
I therefore propose the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the chair, and I now put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 13 and 14.
I propose the question that clauses 13 and 14 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 13 and 14 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Mover. I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Mover. Clause 15.
This is new. This is the new clause.
No, not new.
I beg to move that.
Clause 15.
Right, are we together already? We have not done 13. There's a new clause 13A. Okay.
Chair, we have already done.
There's a new clause 13A.
It will be later. New clauses will come later. Deal with clause 1.5.
Okay. Then, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause. Are we on the same page? And I beg to move that clause 15 be amended as per the order paper. And this, Honorable Speaker, was providing for the qualifications of the managing director of the authority to make sure that we have a competent managing director to lead the privatization authority. With that, I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 15 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 15 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 16 and 17.
I propose the question that clauses 16 and 17 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 16 and 17 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I propose the question that clause 18 be part of the bill. Mover, move the amendment on clause 18.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that clause 18 be amended as per the order paper. And this, Madam Chair, we are providing that the authority would have to have their program audited and reported on, just to ensure that there is accountability in how the privatization program is being carried by the privatization authority. With that, I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed by the chair. Honorable Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, even as I support this amendment, I'm just wondering whether it is necessary.
because it's a requirement. This authority is going to be a government authority. And I think it's a general requirement that any organization getting public funding must be audited annually. For ministries, you have the Auditor General, and then you have the other organizations like this authority who are also audited. So unless we're just putting emphasis, to me, I think really this might not be adding value to the amendments. I submit, Chairperson.
Member for Emuhaya.
As my own Makali speaks on that, I just wonder why would make a hanging statement like to be audited on, and then stop there. By who, really? We could just, if that would be the case, we complete. So Chair could explain that.
Chair, I would like you to respond to a few issues. Maybe Honorable Member for Emuhaya, please raise your point again for the benefit of the Chair.
Just to make sure that we are making a complete law, who really would you want to audit this particular board or organization?
Honorable Chair, in matters of corporate governance, then it is usually the board that would more or less oversight the policies being made by management or by head of institutions, in this, the managing director. And the thinking behind this, Honorable Chair, is that you may make a decision to privatize a particular institution, and it takes 5 years to accomplish that. So this now necessitates that the board would have to have an annual report of that privatization program, because the need, for example, to prioritize an institution that existed 5 years ago, circumstances may have changed 5 years later. And remember, that privatization program would have been approved by National Assembly. So we're saying, in as much as the National Assembly has approved that privatization program, then there is need for an annual review of the need, and that's what we call being audited, and now a report being made to the necessary authorities, including, for example, it being a public institution to the Auditor General, specifically on the privatization program, not necessarily on their financial statements.
All right, members, I now put the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed by the Chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 18 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 19 be amended as per the order paper, and again, this is to correct a grammatical error in the word by inserting that word shall.
I propose the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the Chair. And I now put the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed by the Chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 19 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I propose the question that clause 20 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clause 20 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 21.
I propose the question that clause 21 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 21 be amended as per the order paper. We are here just replacing the words Parliament with National Assembly, so that this does not become a function of Parliament, including Senate, becomes a function of National Assembly as contained in the other parts of the bill.
I now propose the question that clause 21 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I put the question that clause 21 be amended as proposed by the Chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 21 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 22 and 23.
I propose the question that clauses 22 and 23 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 22 and 23 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 24.
I propose the question that clause 24 be part of the bill. Mover.
Closed.
Clause 24.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 24 be amended as per the order paper. This by numbering the existing provisions as subclause 1 and inserting the new subclause provisions that entail the transfer of public interest in a public entity shall not be implemented unless it is included in the privatization program. This is necessitating that any privatization that has to be done has to have been included in the privatization program as approved by National Assembly. With that, I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 24 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 24 is amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 25 and 26.
I propose the question that clauses 25 and 26 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 25 and 26 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 27.
I propose the question that clause 27 be amended. I propose the question that clause 27 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 27 be amended as per the order paper. And this Honorable Chair is making sure that the implementation of privatization transactions, once approved, we realize are internal affairs of the authority, and therefore they do not necessarily have to come back to Parliament for approval.
I therefore propose the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed by the chair. And for good order, if you'd like to say something, use the intervention button to catch my eye. Honorable Makali Mulu. Use the next one.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, I'm just wondering, the 27 part 1 is saying that for each privatization, there shall be a steering committee for each. And I'm imagining if we have many of them, would that really not be too tedious to form a committee after every time? How I wish that we would have just possibly said we need some steering committee so that if we have one which can handle 3 or 4, that would actually facilitate the process, other than for each you must have a steering committee. That becomes a bit tricky in terms of implementation. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Before I give the chair, member for Seme.
Chair, I was also concerned that if you have that, and actually that is then done by the authority, it doesn't go to Parliament, you then seem to be ceding a lot of power to that authority and maybe be used. How do we take care of that? How do we protect that?
Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Before the chair, let's indulge the majority leader.
Honorable Speaker, Chair, I just wanted to weigh in on what the Honorable Nyakali is saying, because the understanding is that Parliament has already approved the privatization program. And therefore, when it goes now to the day-to-day operations of the privatization authority to determine how to privatize, they don't need to keep coming back to Parliament for each and every transaction, and that's what the chair had just indicated.
Chair, do you have anything more useful to add?
I think the majority leader has summarized it, so I agree with what my
Okay.
leader said. But maybe for clarity, for Dr. Nyikao, the steering committee, let's give this scenario, that you are privatizing Kenya Airways. You need people with professional knowledge on aviation. The same would not apply to if you are privatizing Kenyatta Hospital, because then you'll think we'll need a different skill set for that particular program.
Well said. I now put the question that clause 27 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 27 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 28.
I propose the question that clause 28 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 28 be amended as per the order paper. And this is essentially deleting the word cabinet secretary and replacing that with cabinet, so that the decision of a privatization of an institution would have to be made by the cabinet, not a single cabinet secretary.
All right, I now propose the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 28 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 29.
I propose the question that clause 29 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 29 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, deleting that specific paragraph I that reads an evaluation of the entity to be privatized. If you check the entire section 29, if through N actually provides for an evaluation, and therefore that specific requirement as an evaluation of the entity to be privatized would be redundant, and that is why we propose its deletion.
Therefore, I propose the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 29 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 30.
I propose the question that clause 30 be part of the bill. Mover. Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 30 be deleted as proposed in the order paper. And this, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Chair, the clause 30 was providing for public participation. But if you realize that that privatization program, for it to have been approved by National Assembly, would have undergone public participation. And therefore, there is no need to provide again that program needs to go through public participation. That is the purpose of deletion of that clause.
I propose the question that clause 30 be deleted. I now put the question that clause 30 be deleted. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 31.
I propose the question that clause 31 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 31 be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, this proposed amendment is aimed at avoiding risks associated with concentrating the decision-making of weighty government matters to a cabinet secretary and making that to be a decision of the cabinet.
I therefore propose the question that clause 31 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 31 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 31 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 32.
I propose the question that clause 32 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, clause 32, I propose that clause 32 be amended as per the order paper. For the same reason I've given for the other clauses, decisions, important decisions need to be made by the cabinet, not just a cabinet secretary.
I therefore propose the question that clause 32 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 32 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 32 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 33.
I propose the question that clause 33 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 33 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is seeking to bring clarity to clause 33(1) of the bill. The use of valuation in a standalone form may create ambiguity. So this proposal just wants to bring clarity to section 33, to clause 33(1). I move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 33 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 33 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 34.
I propose the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clause 34 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 35.
I propose the question that clause 35 be part of the bill. Mover to move the amendment.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 35 be amended as per the order paper. These are two sections, A and B. A is a cleanup, replacing the word state corporation to public entity as contained in the rest of the bill, and B, inserting the words procure any assets and now add liabilities, because as an institution would have both, is expected to have both assets and liabilities. With that, I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 35 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 35 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 35 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 36.
I propose the question that clause 36 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 36 be amended as per the order paper. This proposed amendment is seeking to ensure that there is business continuity and preservation of the value of the entity being privatized, even as it enters the privatization program, and removes the risk of erosion of value through an investment in the anticipation of privatization.
I propose the question that clause 36 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 36 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 36 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 37.
I propose the question that clause 37 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 37 be amended as per the order paper. And again, this is a cleanup to call these national government entities one name called public entity.
I therefore propose the question that clause 37 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 37 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 37 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 38.
I propose the question that clause 38 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 38 be amended as per the order paper. Again, this is a protection of those entities being privatized to provide additional requirement that they need to operate normally as they were before got into the privatization program, just to make sure that we protect these entities from abuse like it usually happens when there is a privatization program that's being mentioned.
I propose the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the chair. Majority Leader.
Chair, allow me to support this particular amendment, and together with this, the amendment on clause 36. Because, Honorable Chair, in the past we have seen when state enterprises are earmarked for privatization, either there is a rush for stripping of assets and disposing them at a loss, or at times the managers of these state entities basically become very careless in the way they manage the entities, and by the time they are being privatized, the government actually ends up losing because these entities will have lost value since people become very lethargic in how they manage the entities. Entities lose revenues, they become non-profitable, and this has been a scheme, Honorable Speaker, by corrupt cartels in the past in the country, that when they knew a state entity was bound to be privatized, they would completely run down those entities and then organize to purchase the same entities at a very low value. But immediately after they purchase them, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, then they get their new management and the entities immediately become very profitable to the benefit of the private investors and at the expense of the public. And I must commend the chair and the committee for having ensured that we are now using this bill to protect such entities from either erosion of their assets or erosion of their revenue streams, and ensuring that the public actually or the government gets value, the real market value of the entities that they intend to privatize.
Member for Seme.
Whereas I actually support this because the principle is good, and considered with what we had passed earlier, that you actually don't take new investments. But it brings to my mind that then the authority will have to actually get into a lot of management, internal management of this privatization. Has we thought out how that can actually be done? It may come in regulations or something, but it's something that one needs to think out ahead of time.
Honorable Makali Mulu.
Thing of mine is dead.
Keep moving.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I want also to support this amendment. And even as I support Honorable Chair, I think it's important to really thank this committee for the way they have mainstreamed serious safeguards to this bill. When you look at what has been done here, Honorable Chair, it is actually commendable that we are really serious about protecting public entities. I support Honorable Chair.
Thank you. I now propose the question that clause 38. Oh, wait, sorry. Chair.
Honorable Chair, I think the matter raised by my senior there is quite crucial. But remember then, this is not necessarily a responsibility that be bestowed to the authority. Because once a public entity has been put into the privatization program, and this becomes an act of parliament, then the management of that particular public entity would be required to follow this law. And therefore, any actions that they may take would be taken on by the legal recourse, for example, by the Auditor General or DCI or on the other entities that ensure that the laws of this land are actually followed to the letter.
Thank you, Chair. I now put the question that clause 38 be amended as proposed by the Chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 38 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43.
I propose the question that clauses 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 44.
I propose the question that clause 44 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 44 be amended as per the order paper. This is a deletion of this clause that says, and I want to take my time on this because it's very important. that any proceeds from the sale of a public entity's shareholding shall be deposited in a special interest account established for that public entity in order to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of that particular public entity. Honorable Chair, the accounting of doing this transaction would have actually meant that that institution could easily find itself reverting to be a public entity. And a key point is what, for example, we've seen with Telkom, where now Telkom has more or less been bought back, and there is no any legal provision that allows a private entity to go back to being a public entity. So this proposal is the deletion of that clause that was purporting to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of these public entities under privatization program.
I now propose the question that clause 44 be amended as proposed by the chair. I see some interest. Member for Thika Town.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The question I'm asking that it shall be deposited in a special interest-bearing account. For how long? Chair.
Before the chair responds, Honorable Kemei. Justice, yes.
Thank you, Chair. I wish to support the amendment as proposed by the Chair. If you remember, Chair, today we were discussing about public enterprises being leased out. We do not know, Madam Chair, whether after 20 years we would like those enterprises to revert back to government. If that was the case, then, Chair, those institutions must have some money to be able to keep the balance sheet. I support, Chair. Thank you.
Honorable David Bowen.
Madam Chair, as I support the amendment, I want to understand what is a special deposit fund. Where is this? When it says that it's going to be deposited in a special, it's a special bank, is it a central bank, or where is this special place?
Honorable Chair, I hope you're taking note. Member for Endebess, Dr. Robert Pukose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to support this amendment in that the proceeds from the sale of we've seen many public entities, sales being done and being wound up, but we've actually not understood how those resources have been utilized, because they've ended up into people's pockets, and therefore by depositing it in a special interest-bearing account, it means this is an account that can be audited, and we can be able to establish that the amount of money that came from that sale is this much, and how that money can be spent moving forward. Or if you want to reinvest it into something else, then it is very clear that it can be, it's an account that can easily be audited and be understood.
Member for Kitui Rural.
I think, Madam Chair, if we move to 44.2, it answers all the questions which members are raising. I support.
Honorable Chair, please respond to some of the issues raised by the members.
Okay. Again, the committee took a lot of time to deliberate on this matter, and before we came to this conclusion. So just to take members through, clause 44 has two subsections, 1 and 2. So 1 reads the follows as per the order paper, that any proceeds from the sale of the state corporation shareholding shall be deposited in a special interest-bearing account established for that state corporation in order to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of that state corporation. So this protects the proceeds from the sale. And to avoid this sale going to an account, and talking about billions of shillings and benefiting the bank without necessarily now getting interest, that's why we're putting this requirement that it will have to be an interest-bearing account. However, this clause 44 in the original bill had another clause 2 that said Subject to the approval of the Cabinet Secretary, the proceeds under subsection 1 may be used to liquidate the debts of the state corporation, used to pay the cost of financial and organizational restructuring of the state corporation, used to pay for capital investment by the state corporation, D, used to defray the cost incurred by the authority in the privatization, which payment shall not exceed 5%. So this proposal is deleting that subsection 2, because this original bill would have meant we have, for example, sold off Kenya Airways, but you've given the authority permission to use the proceeds of that sale to pay consultants, to pay all these manner of expenses as enlisted in the original bill. Then this would have meant that privatization could mean that no money will go to the consolidated fund, because knowing how these officers would operate, they will spend all the proceeds of that privatization in the privatization exercise. Therefore, curtailing even the whole importance of that privatization in the first place.
Member for Emuhaya.
Thank you. I think with that explanation from the chair, then it's quite clear, and I support, because one of the reasons why we want even to privatize some of these institutions is actually to get money and also save on our balance of payments. And therefore, if we were to allow, in the interest of what he has stated on the clause that we are deleting, which is 2, then I support this fully, so that that money can be secured for the CFS. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Chair, I support, and I just wanted to just add to what the chairman of the Finance Committee is saying. And indeed, the committee is right. Because the moment you privatize a state-owned entity and you sell off your shares, it no longer belongs to the public. It is no longer a public entity. And therefore, if you are to use proceeds of what you have received from a private investor who has bought your shares off to settle debts of that entity that is now a private entity, then it means you are either reinvesting public money into a private entity and reversing the privatization, or you are simply using public money to pay private debts. And that is what has been state capture, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the committee is on spot, and I support the deletion of that particular clause. I think the drafter of this bill must have been a functionary of the past regime of state capture. And I must thank the committee for deleting that particular provision.
Thank you. Member for Funyula.
Chair, thank you. When I look at the bill here, Honorable Speaker, is signed by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wa, leader of the majority party, so probably I would imagine is part of the functionary and state capture. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, allow me to prosecute my amendment.
Okay, Honorable Undo, yes. Take a minute, majority leader.
Chair, point of order. And you know, the Honorable Undo must apologize because he knows government bills are signed by the leader of majority, not Honorable Kimani Ichung'wa, the member of parliament for Kikuyu. And therefore, I am not the drafter of this bill. And that is why I said whoever drafted it must have been a functionary of the previous regime's state capture.
Noted, Honorable Majority Leader.
I want to ask the Honorable, he must apologize and withdraw that statement for linking me to the elements of state capture when he knows I have been at the forefront of fighting the cartels that he was supporting.
Honorable members, we're in the committee of the whole. That is why you can make amendments.
Yes,
I am sure you cannot amend the person who has signed.
Yes, for sure.
Honorable member for Funyula, take 2 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, I just want to take back the chair, and I hope he's listening carefully. Yes, I totally agree. Section 44(2), it's in order to delete. But Honorable Speaker, Madam Chair, we are not curing the problem that intending to cure. And let us look at the wordings of the amendments. And it reads, any proceeds from the sale of a public entity shareholding shall be deposited in a special interest bearing account established for the public entity in order to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of the public entity. Chair, we have divested from the company. The government has divested from the company. It has no fiduciary responsibility to the company. So what is it that we are putting the money in an interest-bearing account to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of the public entity? Unless here we are saying, in any case, whatever shares they'll be left with, if it's partial divestiture, they are only responsible for their share of the debts or whatever it is of the balance sheet. So what is it that we are trying to do here? Are we trying to divest and then put a soft landing that in the event things don't work, you can come back to the public? The chair and the guys who sat needs to explain clearly. I mean, simple is plain reading. It is simple finance.
You have made your point, Honorable Oundo, and I hope the chair you're listening, because I see Honorable Member for Thika is still not satisfied, because the question the member for Thika asked has still not been responded to, because, hold on, Honorable Alice.
I want to add even.
No, hold on. Let me finish. I'll give you a minute. But if you read the original bill, Honorable Chair, you've already deleted part 2, which was supposedly supposed to cure. So please respond, giving attention to the order paper, the new clause 44. Member for Thika.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, we are on it, Madam Chair. Which I am asking the chair, which bank is this one? Because even we have seen private banks that money has been deposited on a fixed deposit, and one day we wake up in the morning and the bank is no more. So how are we going to be protecting this proceed or when we are doing this privatization?
Kindly respond, Honorable Chair.
All right. So, honorable members, Honorable Chair, I would like to thank the contributions from the different honorable members for the comfort of my good friend, the Honorable MP for Thika. Let's start with one for Thika. Clause 64 provides that the Cabinet Secretary will make the regulations that do now operationalize this Act of Parliament. Because it will not be possible to capture everything in an Act of Parliament. That's why we do regulations after that through the Such Instruments Act. So that then would bring up the time. But having now, considering that elicited debate this has done, I will consider an amendment to this to add the time that this money will stay in this special bearing account, so that the money that has been proceeds of privatization does not stay in a private bank for so long without being accessed by government for other expenditure through the consolidated fund. But having said that, Honorable Funyula, to read, to MP for Funyula, to read Dr. Oundo, to read the same words, that the interest-bearing account has been established, would have been established for that particular purpose of privatization. It is not necessarily an account of that particular entity. It has been established for the purpose of privatization. With that, so with that, Honorable Speaker, allow me to move a further amendment to this particular entity, and to read as follows: that any proceeds from the sale of public entities shareholding shall be deposited in a special interest-bearing account established for that public entity in order to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of the balance entity, and the same would be credited to the consolidated fund within 3 months after the proceeds have been received.
Yeah. I think that has been made clear. That has been made clear. Honorable Chair, please move the further amendment again for the benefit of members. Just move it again.
Okay.
Chair, move the amendment again, the
So
further amendment.
I beg to move a further amendment, Honorable Chair, that any proceeds, that clause 44 be amended to read as follows. Any proceeds from the sale of the public entities shareholding shall be deposited. Any proceeds from the sale of the public entities shareholding shall be deposited in a special interest-bearing account established for that public entities Y apostrophe
With
S
an apostrophe,
privatization
yeah.
in order to protect the erosion of the balance sheet of that public entity, and then add another sentence that the proceeds of this privatization shall be credited to the consolidated fund within 90 days of within 90 days. And that I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I think we're on the same page. I now propose the question that clause 44 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 44 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 45.
I propose the question that clause 45 be part of the bill, and I now put the question that clause 45 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 46.
I propose the question that clause 46 be part of the bill. Mover.
So, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 46 be amended as per the order paper. This amendment is seeking to correct a reference error where clause 46(1) was meant to refer to the previous clause 45 and not clause 46.
I therefore propose the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed by the chair, and I now put the question that clause 46 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53.
I propose the question that clauses 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 54.
I propose the question that clause 54 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 54 be amended as per the order paper. This is replacing the words allocated by Parliament to replace that with appropriated by the National Assembly. And this is to make it in line with Article 95(4)(b) of the Constitution that provides that the National Assembly shall appropriate funds for expenditure by the national government and other state organs. National Assembly, yes, keyword.
I propose the question that clause 54 be amended as proposed by the chair. And I now put the question that clause 54 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 54 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60.
I propose the question that clauses 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 61.
I propose the question that clause 61 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg that clause 61 be amended as per the order paper. And again, this is also very material, and I would like to report this House. Clause 61 in the original bill provides the following: that in the implementation of this act, a public entity to which the act applies shall provide the authority with such information as may be necessary to effectively implement the privatization. However, it does not provide for what happens if those officers in those entities fails to provide the said information. So this clause is now providing that any person who contravenes this section commits an offense and is liable to, upon conviction, to a fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or both. And this makes sure that these officers who are already running these institutions do not keep away information that would be material. For example, not declaring all the assets that they own for the purposes of wanting now to take those assets to belong to themselves, as it has happened before in institutions that have been privatized.
I therefore propose the question that clause 61 be amended as proposed by the chair. Honorable Member, Honorable Wilberforce Oundo.
Chair, this is a timely and necessary amendment to the bill, but again, the issues I raised earlier in the day, but there wasn't enough time to ventilate or review. On section 61.1, it just says the authority, a public entity. In any public entity, there must be somebody responsible, an office and a board responsible for providing that information. In the event of contravention, who is going to be punished? Who is going to be held liable? Is it the chair of the board? Is it the MD or the chief officer? Is it the company secretary? Is it the messenger? Is it the chief financial officer? Who is specifically going to be held responsible? By just holding the entire entity, you then have to hold it responsible, including the sweeper and the cleaner and the tea guard. Probably that's why if the guy had a chance to review, would have been very specific. Who is the party, who is the officer of the public entity charged with the responsibility of providing the information? Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Chair.
Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I think it is saying any person, which means there must be somebody responsible. But my concern is the issue of the kind of the sanction we are putting in place. Honorable Chair, some of these assets are worth billions of shillings. And if I've really tried to consider information related to assets worth billions, I think we would be demanding too little from the person if we are only charging them less than half a million. And then the other thing is a court being put in court or imprisonment of not more than 6 months, Honorable Chair. How I wish that the chair would make amendments, be making some amendment to this, to make it more serious. Possibly 10 million and a jail term of not less than at least 5 years. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Member for Honorable Justice Kemei, are you willing to speak on this? I see your card.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I wanted to support the chair of the committee on this aspect of providing sanctions for those who abdicate their responsibilities. And I would want to imagine that probably the chair would make the accounting officer the person who would be held responsible in the event that that duty is abdicated. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Member for Thika Town.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. On this one, what I would say, because we don't know this person, what sin they have committed. There are some who have committed a mistake of maybe not very big, a minor one, cannot be treated the same way with that person who have done a big mistake or have stolen even. Why don't we go according to the percentage of whatever who have has been done?
Okay, honorable members, we keep it short and use your cards. Member for Maragua.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for this. Madam Chair, I would want to say we should be strict whenever it comes to conviction. so that whoever will be in charge is supposed to stick to the law and within the mandate that he or she is supposed to perform. And therefore, Madam Chair, there is no small mistake or a big mistake. Therefore, I tend to think the chair can move an amendment so that we move away from the 500,000 or 6 or both to make it a more strict, so that everyone who will be responsible should be responsible and know the consequences of going against the statement. Madam Chair.
Majority Leader.
Chair, I concur with the chair of the committee and members' sentiments. Honorable Speaker, if you read the wording, and this is the way proper legislation should be done, it says that any person who contravenes this section commits an offense and is liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 500,000 and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding, and the keywords are not exceeding. Honorable Speaker, I agree that the penalty should be as high as possible, so that those who are guilty of what would constitute a bigger offense then are penalized more. And you leave that now to the courts to decide and determine the amount of information that you need not disclose was not so material to constitute you being penalized to the tune of 5 million shillings. And Honorable Speaker, I wanted to propose a further amendment to the words that not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years, or to both.
Chair,
So
Majority Leader, you know, if I read not exceeding, it means this is a maximum. It's
that
not a
is
minimum.
the maximum.
Yeah.
So you leave it
Nobody
to the
can be
discretion of the
fined.
judge.
Nobody can be fined more than 500,000. That is what the law is saying, the way it is worded.
And that is why, Honorable Chair, I am proposing a further amendment to say not exceeding 5 million shillings in place of 500,000, such that if I fail to disclose an immaterial issue that will not constitute a big loss to the entity, then I can be penalized 200, 500,000. But for a chief executive officer who fails to disclose a material matter should be fined up to a maximum of 5 million shillings, and then you leave it to the judges to use discretion to know who to fine, 2,000 shillings, 2 million shillings, and therefore, Honorable Speaker, that's why I was proposing the further amendment to not exceeding 5 million and a term not exceeding 5 years.
Okay. Majority Leader, let us dispose of the Majority Leader's proposal. Yeah, that the fine should not exceed 5 million. No, honorable members, I know you have different figures, but what has been proposed by the Majority Leader is not exceeding 5 million and not exceeding 5 years. That is what is on the table. Honorable members, the graduated fines, as has been proposed by some members, will be taken care of by having a bracket of not more than 5 million. So some can be charged 500,000 and others 5 million, if I get it right. So Honorable Chair, is yours contrary? Is your amendment contrary to what the Majority Leader has moved?
Honorable Chair, I am in agreement with the proposal by the leader of majority that this fine be set to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings and to an imprisonment term of not exceeding 5 years. And I know there is a temptation by most honorable members to say, let's have even the minimum. It is just that in legal practice, you will not set a minimum, you only set the maximum.
Majority Leader, kindly move the amendment properly.
Thank you,
on the
Honorable
actual
Speaker.
text.
I beg then to move the amendment,
Further amendment.
further amendment on clause 61, subclause 3(4), to read as follows: that any person who contravenes this section commits an offense and is liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or to both.
I now put the question that clause 61 be amended be further amended as proposed. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 61 as further amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67.
I propose the question that clauses 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 67 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 68.
I propose the question that clause 68 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 68 be amended by deleting subclause 2 and substituting the following with the following clause. 2, notwithstanding subsection 1, any ongoing privatization under the repealed act shall be determined and finalized in accordance with this act. The import of this amendment, Honorable Chair, is that the bill provided that the ongoing privatization under the repealed act, because remember, once this bill becomes an act, the current privatization act will be repealed. This was providing for that that the programs under the current privatization act would have to be completed within 12 months. Now, the problem with putting a timing to this is that there could arise externalities, including judicial proceedings, that would render this particular piece of law therefore redundant. And that I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I therefore put the question. I propose the question that clause 68 be amended as proposed by the chair. Member for Seme.
Whereas I accept that and actually support it, but I don't see where there's a very clear distinction between 1 and 2. What is so specific about 1 that it cannot fall within the proposal that we have done in 2?
Chair.
Honorable Chair, if you read 68, clause 68(1), upon commencement of this act, the privatization of entities published under Gazette Notice number 8739 of 14th August 2009 shall lapse. So this privatization is supported by this legal instrument, a Gazette Notice, not by the act. And the act will be now what will be implemented by the Privatization Commission. So the two are very different.
Specific process. It's a specific process. And what we really want to know, or what I really would like to know, what is this that is under this legal notice number, this of August 2009? This looks a specific issue. So we just want to know what is that issue.
Chair.
Honorable Chair, in very simple terms, these two clauses are providing for a transition mechanism. Whether it is, for example, the debate we had earlier on the privatization of the the listing of the 5 sugar companies, there was a session of paper that actually provided for the listing of those sugar mills. And therefore, the legal document that would have been used would have been that session of paper. That is why even in our resolution in our earlier debate, we had to vacate the resolutions of this House on that session of paper so that we could provide for the resolutions as made today. So the same thing, that now we have to provide a transition mechanism for the prevention of those entities that were through that Gazette notice of 2009 now to come through the new Privatization Act if this House approves this particular bill as amended.
Honorable members.
There's a difference.
Honorable member for Seme.
Chair, the difference is this. One is talking of a specific issue, and you could actually ask for listing of those so that you know what they are. And there's nothing to say that if they lapse, they'll be taken up under 2. I support 2, clearly. But to me, my concern is there is some information that this House is not privy to, that is now being resolved under 1. Because these are, you can actually list them, like you given the example of the sugar. Can we then get them listed?
Order members, let's give the chair a moment.
So, Honorable Chair, we are saying on 68(1) that upon commencement of this act, the privatization of entities published under Gazette Notice 8739 of 2009 shall lapse. Okay? And therefore, now that they have lapsed, we are providing a recourse by now that clause 2, that notwithstanding, that's what it reads, notwithstanding subsection 1, any ongoing privatization under the repealed act may be without that deletion. So read also, Honorable Nyikal, notwithstanding subsection 1. So it is providing, so clause 2 is providing for a recourse for what happens when that Gazette notice lapses, as on clause 68(1).
Majority Leader.
Chair, on a point of order, I wanted the Honorable Nyikal to clarify to us, is he tired, or is it a problem with English, or what is the problem? Because the chair has explained these things so well and in very simple English. And you know, Dr. Nyikal is a doctor of
Majority
medicine.
Leader, by all fairness, if you would have achieved as much as he has and at his age, he's doing very well.
That's what I'm saying.
Honorable member.
That's why I was seeking clarification.
He is actually in order to seek the clarification.
I don't know Professor Nyikal not to have a problem with English.
Yeah.
Unless he's tired. You know, it's rather late in the day. And he might be tired.
Honorable member for
But
Seme.
I think it is now clear.
Have you got the clarification?
Chair, we shall not use gimmicks to overcome this. There is a Gazette notice number this of 14th of 2009. That Gazette notice was talking about some process, and those things are listed. What I am asking, what are they? The problem is I have not, let me say that, read that notice. And I know many members here have not read that notice. They do not know what is in that Gazette notice. That is what I'm asking. We won't go through English. The English I know is enough. No, I'm not going to Google, because we cannot put something in before the House that we do not know. Yeah, you know. No.
Member for Seme. Member for Seme, I want us to be on the same page, because I'm also looking at the bill, and I see that the proposal from the chair is that he deletes 68(2) altogether and replaces, substitutes with a new 2, which is on the order paper. One is existing. Give me the mic. Chair. Shall lapse. This lapses. But notwithstanding that. in it? Finance, maybe explain to members, because if I hear Honorable Nyikal very well, he's saying by this act coming into force, then it means that that gazette notice lapses. But part 2 also says, notwithstanding that one, that lapsing. Anyway, Chair, please explain to Honorable Nyikal the import of.
Okay, let me attempt again, hopefully, with some more success.
Yeah, please.
To my senior. Hi. And I'd like to give, this report is available for public record and can be tabled on what that gazette says. But having said that, and I want to give again an example of the debate we just had. There was a session of paper that set about a leasing model for those sugar companies. The same thing, we have a gazette notice, gazette notice numbers 8739, that set out the prohibition program. And if you want me to read, and that information is available on the website, was, for example, for the Kenya Energy Generation Company, KenGen, where GOK owns 70%, Kenya Pipeline Company Limited, where GOK owns 100%, Kenya Ports Authority, where the government owns 100%, Kenya Ports Authority Outsourcing, Steve Doring Services, KPA, where the government owns 100%, Chamili Sugar Companies, and all the, yes, okay, Chamili Sugar Companies, South Nyanza Sugar Company, Zoya Sugar Company, Miwani, Mohoroni, Kabarnet Hotel, Mountain Kenya Golf Hotel Limited, and all those other entities. So all those entities were on the program of privatization through this Gazette Notice number 2000, Gazette Notice 8739 of 14th August 2009. So this provision is saying, is providing for two things. One, that Gazette Notice shall lapse. Okay? So that Gazette Notice lapsing means that the program as approved by that Gazette Notice will not continue. And then two, providing a recourse that notwithstanding what that has said, then the privatization program now would go as per that. And hopefully for the last time. Thank you.
Honorable Nyikal is fine. Honorable Nyikal has got it. Honorable Nyikal has got it. I now propose that I put the question that clause 68 be amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now propose the question that clause 68 as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clauses 69, 70, and 71.
I propose the question that clauses 69, 70, and 71 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clauses 69, 70, and 71 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
New clauses. New clause 13A and new clause 13B.
Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 13A and, oh, yes.
We are here.
I beg to move that, this has a special amendment, Honorable Chair. I beg to move that section, that new clause 13A be amended as per the order paper. So 13A reads, the board may, by resolution, either general or in a particular...
Chair, you must move for a second reading of the clause.
Okay.
Be read a second time.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that new clause 13A be read a second time.
And B.
No, we have...
Chair, we had moved. . Mover.
Honorable Chair, for starters, I would beg to not to move 13B as per the order paper. And 13B, Honorable Chair, was providing that the board may be, by resolution, either generally or in particular case, co-opt an additional member with relevant expertise for purposes of performance of any functions of the board. After consultation, we found this was not necessary, and therefore, I am moving not to move 13B. Having said that, I beg to move that new clause 13A be read a second time. And this new clause 13A wants to enrich the bill by providing a legal provision that now the board can form subcommittees in particular when they are carrying out their responsibilities as the board.
I therefore propose the question that the new clause 13A be now read a second time. Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, I have concerns with some of the issues being listed in this amendment. You know, the only way a board can work, and this is best practice, is that boards work through subcommittees. But when you want to delegate board's work to a member or an officer, to me that doesn't make much sense. How I wish that we retained subcommittee of the board or an agent of that authority, so that we delete the issue of one member or an officer of the board. That would be what we call, Honorable Chair, best practice in terms of issues of governance. I submit.
Majority Leader.
Chair, I feel what the Honorable Makali Mulu is saying. However, if you read the import of the amendment, it says that the board may, by resolution, either generally or in a particular case, delegate to a subcommittee of the board or to a member, officer or employee or agent of the authority the exercise of any powers or performance of any of the functions of the board. Honorable Speaker, is normal in normal governance that probably a board is sitting and by resolution you resolve that we will delegate now a certain task or a certain function to either a subcommittee of the board or maybe to the CEO to carry out a certain function. It doesn't mean, because it will be done by a resolution which will be minted. Therefore, whatever is being done by the entire board by resolution, and therefore it's not that you are giving a blank check to an officer or an employee of the authority to do things. It is a specific task which must be reported back to that board, because you are doing it as a subcommittee or as an appendage of the board. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would beg that we pass it as it is, as proposed by the committee.
Honorable Wilberforce. Make it fast.
Chair, as the amendment might look harmless as the chair and the majority leader wants to put it, Honorable Speaker, Chair, if you look on the first schedule that deals with the operations of the board, there's actually already a provision that allows the board to make resolutions, and it reads, a decision of the board shall be majority of the members present and voting, and in any case of an equality of the votes. There is already a provision for resolutions. Chair, and I wanted to go on record, that particular amendment is a mischievous amendment. It is for deal making. It's for deal fixers. And time will bear me witness. Thank you, Honorable.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the new clause. Chair, before I put the question, do you have something to add before I put the question? Chair.
So, Honorable Chair, in as much as I share with the interpretation by my honorable colleagues, the wordings, though, on this particular proposal ties it, because for that decision to be made by an officer or a member of the board, there has to be a board resolution. And therefore, that responsibility is still bestowed on the board of privatization authority. In that case, then the board would have had to have not just approved, but through a board resolution, this particular instance. And therefore, I would urge members, there's no harm in having this, there's no mischief here, because it safeguards the authority of the board, because they would have to have a board resolution.
Thank you, honorable members. I now put the question that the new clause 13A be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I propose the question that the new clause 13A be part of the bill. I now put the question that the new clause 13A be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
First schedule.
I propose the question that the first schedule be part of the bill. And I now put the question that the first schedule be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Second schedule.
I propose the question that the second schedule be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg that the second schedule be amended as per the order paper. Honorable Chair, the second schedule, I move that the second schedule be amended in paragraph 2A, that in paragraph 4, in subparagraph 4, by inserting the words technical immediately after the words shall constitute. So, Honorable Chair, this proposed amendment in this section on the second schedule is providing for the methods of privatization and seeking to provide clarity on the paragraphs. Most importantly, provide timelines to ensure timely submission of various documents, ensure that this bill is in line with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Just for example, to give an example, that on evaluation of expression of interest, so where there is a privatization program, and now there's an advertisement in the local dailies as per the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, the completion of the evaluation is required to be within 7 days, so that this makes sure that the people making these decisions have to make them timely. If I again talk about clause 9, upon closure of the period for submission of the request for proposals, the committee constituted under paragraph 8 shall, we are adding within 30 days, evaluate the successfully submitted request for proposals in accordance with the set out criteria. If you look at 11, that upon completion of the evaluation, the managing director shall, again within 21 days, submit to the board a detailed report containing a summary of the evaluation. 12, that the recommendation of the board under paragraph 12 together with a draft agreement shall, again within 7 days, be submitted to the cabinet for approval. 13, that upon approval by the cabinet secretary, the managing director shall notify the successful tenderer and concurrently notify the unsuccessful tenderers and the outcome of the tender indicating the reasons therefore, again giving a timeline of 7 days. So this ties, Honorable Chair, where some decisions, important decisions of this republic take years to accomplish, so that by the time that board is making a decision, even the purpose for which that particular decision was supposed to be made, circumstances have changed, costs have changed, externalities have changed. So they make sure that this privatization program is on time by making sure that all those involved are given proper timelines in which they need to accomplish all the tasks that is bestowed on them as per the provisions of this act. And that I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
I therefore propose the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed. I will indulge just Honorable Makali Mulu.
Yeah, this is important, Honorable Chairperson. Well, I agree with all the other timelines. I think the timeline we are providing under 7A is quite restrictive, where we are allowing successful or shortlisted person only 14 days to come up with comprehensive technical proposals. How I wish we push that to 21 days. That will help in terms of coming up with very good technical proposals. The 7A 7A under Schedule 2, where you are proposing that you only allow 14 days for submission of the technical proposals. That to me, I think is a very short time, bearing in mind the kind of assets we'll be privatizing. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chair.
Okay. That is a fair contribution. And I would like to agree with Dr. Makari Mulu that that time the 14 days may not be
Are you
sufficient.
moving a further amendment?
So I beg to move a further amendment that the 7 be increased from 14 days to 21 days.
All right, I now put the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that the second schedule as amended be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Third schedule.
I propose the question that the third schedule be part of the bill. And I now put the question that the third schedule be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that clause 2 be amended as per the order paper by deleting the definition privatization. I'm starting therefore with a new definition. Privatization means a transaction that results in a transfer other than to a public entity of an asset of a public entity, including the shares in a public entity. I beg to move, Honorable Chair, that I move a further amendment to read the following. Privatization means a transaction that results in a transfer other than to a public entity of the assets and or liabilities of a public entity, including the shares in that public entity. So this would allow, Honorable Chair, where a privatization program could, for example, want a public entity to only offload their liabilities or their assets or jointly to be able to do that by now improving this definition of the word privatization.
I propose the question that clause 2 be further amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 2 be further amended as proposed by the chair. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. And as many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. And I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover. Mover to move reporting. Majority Leader, you're the mover of the bill, move reporting.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the privatization bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments.
I therefore put the question, which is that committee do report to the House its consideration of the privatization bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Very well. Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Privatization Bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023, and approved the same with amendments.
Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with, with the committee in the said report. I also request the member for Mwea, Honorable Mary Maingi, to second the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Speaker, I second.
I now propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the privatization bill, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2023, be now read a third time. I also request Honorable Betty Njeri Maina to second, member for Muranga.
I second, Mr. Speaker.
I now propose the question, which is that the privatization bill, National Bill number 22 of 2023, and now be read the third time. I have confirmed that we have the numbers. I therefore now put the question, which is that the privatization bill, National Bill number 22 of 2023, be now read a third time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for a regulatory framework for the privatization of public entities, to establish the privatization authority, and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Committee of the Whole House.
Members, resume your seats.
Hii ndio marathon. Kama jamata leta ingine.
Honorable members, order members. As you are aware, and we are now moving to the Committee of the Whole House on the sugar bill. I wish to request the Honorable Wangwe, the chairperson of Agriculture and Livestock, the Honorable Innocent Mugabe, Honorable Shakil Shabir, the Honorable Karoli Omondi to be in the House, so that when your amendments are called, you're able to prosecute them. And remind any member who has an amendment on this bill to be on the alert, so that when we reach you, we're able to execute the duty thereat without much ado.
Clause 3.
Members, I propose a question that clause 3 part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Members, I propose a question that clause 4 be part of the bill. Chairperson of Agriculture and Livestock, Honorable Mutunga.
Honorable Chair.
Go ahead.
I propose that clause 4 be amended as per the order paper. The import of this is that we need to cater for the value chain actors in the sugar industry. Honorable Chair, I've seen that.
Just proceed, I'm with you. Proceed.
Okay. I've seen clause 4 in subclause 1 needs to be amended by deleting the paragraph B and substituting, therefore, for the following new paragraph. That is B, coordinate the activities for value chain actors within the industry. And in this case, Chair, we are trying to cater for all the value chain actors within the sugar industry. And B, in subclause 2, by deleting paragraph C and substituting, therefore, the following new paragraph. That is paragraph C to read, establish linkages with other government agencies and research institutions.
Honorable Mutunga, just move the amendment as in the order paper and do a 1 minute explanation. That's all we need.
Honorable Chair, I propose to amend clause 4 as per the order paper. The reason being that, first of all, we want to involve all the value chain actors. Secondly, we want to recognize other government bodies, including the county governments. We also intend to ensure that the board regulates the sugar market besides monitoring it. Also, we want to also avoid double taxation by the national and county governments. And also, we want to ensure that the sugar arbitration, the sugar arbitration does its work, the sugar arbitration tribunal does its work well. And then we also want to ensure that we facilitate the importation of sugar and sugar products. We're also proposing the amendment in order to include the county government because waste disposal is a function of the county governments. And we also intend to cause the further amendments in order to broaden the scope of the board and also to have the mandate of registering and licensing all persons and businesses in the sugar business.
Honorable Mutunga, I hate to disrupt you. What you are reading is in the order paper already.
Yes.
Just explain it in a minute and then you proceed to the next. Please. Move the amendment.
Chair, I have moved the amendment that we amend clause 4 as per the order paper.
Thank you.
And I've given the reason.
Thank you. I now propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. Yes, Honorable Undo.
Chair, just for guidance and for the neatness and orderly conduct of this business, Clause 4 has got several sub-clauses. Do we take it that what he has moved covers everything? And if you have got any comment to make, we can cherry pick or pick any particular one and deliver and deliberate and make a comment on it. We need that clear guidance so that we don't seem.
Honorable Wundo, I agree with you. The member has moved his amendment as for the order of paper, so it covers everything that he proposes to amend in clause 4. So you can comment on any.
So, Chair, and I hope the Chair is listening keenly and is not going to be agreed to be distracted. Chair, I just want to draw his attention on clause 4, item number 6. Chair, is item number 6, and it says deleting paragraph I and substituting thereof the following new paragraph. I hope Chair is listening so that he can give proper guidance. Chair is, let him consult, then I can proceed, because we need his input. Chair, I can now proceed.
Go ahead.
Chair, I'm looking at item number 4, or number 6, sorry, number 6. And this deals about deleting paragraph I and substituting therefore the new paragraph. Honorable Speaker, the import and the long-term effect of that particular amendment is that after a price committee, sugarcane pricing committee, as provided for in the 3rd schedule, part 3, has made its own decision or determination, then the board is obligated to again and go and consult the county governments in any further action after that. So the question is, which he needs to explain. Is that the intention, such that after the sugarcane pricing committee has set the pricing, will the board be required again to go and consult the county governments before they make the final decision? That's what he needs to clarify, so it's very clear to all the farmers.
Thank you.
Yes.
Honorable Mutunga.
Chair, the amendment you are bringing in brings the collaboration with the county governments. So the private pricing committee does not work in isolation.
No, its question is, at what point in time do you consult the county government?
The pricing committee chair has the participation of the county government. So we have members from some of the members of the pricing committee have county government incorporated. So it's right at the beginning.
Okay. Don't we need to clear this first?
Yeah, Chair. Chair, probably here could be a case of semantics, because the pricing committee, Chair, of course, I'm preempting debate, but it's already in the bill and probably there's no amendment at the moment there. The committee comprises of several members or several persons, and one of them is one representative from the county government nominated by the Council of Governors. So the question I'm asking, and which I hope you is be able to get an answer, and it's clear that I've said, is a nominee of the Council of Governors. Does it mean that amounts to collaboration, or after the nominee of the Council of Governors has participated in the setting the price, again, the board has to go again and consult the county governments? Is it collectively? Is it individual county government? Or what is it we are trying to do here? Then if that's the case, what is the role of this nominee of the county government
Thank you.
in.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Undo. I'm sure the Honorable Mutunga has gotten your point.
Yes. Chair, before the county government nominates a participant into the pricing committee, they have to agree on the extent to which they will be making decisions on what's supposed to be discussed.
Okay. Members, we'll have to decide this either way. Honorable Mundo, I'm sure you've heard what he said. Yeah. So therefore, then I therefore now put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. There is an amendment by Honorable Mugabe if he's in the House. The Honorable Innocent Mugabe. Honorable Mugabe, go ahead with the amendment to clause number 4.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. I propose to amend clause 4 of the bill by introducing a new paragraph in F, such that to read, import sugar on behalf of the government whenever there's sugar shortage in the country. The board. And Honorable Chair, this is because one of the ills that is facing the sector is through importation of sugar by private companies and millers. When millers, for example, are allowed to import, what happens is that they will not focus on cane development, because whenever there's a shortage, then they will always have a window to import that sugar. So if we say we leave sugar importation to millers, then we'll be killing cane development. And in this case, now the person who will suffer is the farmer. Again, if we leave it open for the private individuals to import this sugar, we've seen cartels fighting these sugar factories so that they do not produce. We have shortage for them to get window to import, and sometimes they even import over and above the shortage.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
before I give anybody, we need to do the law. So I propose the question. I propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mugabe. I'll give it to the chairperson of the committee the move of the bill, Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to oppose that amendment. And Honorable Chair, it's in a matter of principle, Honorable Chair, Kenya Sugar Board, as in the bill is supposed to be a regulator. And Honorable Chair, you cannot regulate and be a player. So I would have requested the member to invite a player to play in the field where the regulator is. Therefore, I oppose, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Honorable Undo, 1 minute, please. No debate.
Chair, for sure, no debate. With tremendous respect, sometimes not good to oppose a colleague's amendment, but I think this is dangerous. The government should not be in government. It should not be in business.
Thank you.
Let that remain to
Thank you. The Honorable Mboko.
Oh, thank you. It was a very good amendment, because what is happening currently is that even the new players we bring on will just compete to import. Unfortunately, it's now government that has to do it. So I wish the amendment would put that to some other player and not the millers. Thank you.
Thank you, members. I now put the question that clause 4 before the amendment as proposed by the Honorable Mugabe. Will the husband of that opinion say aye? Will the husband of the contrary opinion say nay? The nays have it. There's another amendment to Clause 4 by the Honorable Shakil Shabir, and this will be moved by the Honorable Nyikal on his behalf based on the letter I have on my table. A further amendment to Clause 4.
Chair, Honorable Sabir has asked me to do this, and is amending Clause 4 2A as in the order paper, and the purpose of that amendment is to facilitate public participation. Thank you, Chair.
I propose the question that Clause 4 be further amended, of the bill be further amended as proposed by the Honorable Shakil Shabir. I put the question that Clause 4 be further amended as proposed by the Honorable Shakil Shabir. Will have another opinion say aye? Will have another opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 4 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinions say aye? Will as many other contrary opinions say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that Clause 5 be amended, be part of the bill. Chair, Committee, Agriculture and Livestock.
Honorable Chair, I wish to, I move that Clause 5 be amended as per the order paper in order to basically regulate, or rather moderate, the issuance of inspection certificates, as well as offer coordination of extension services.
Members, I propose a question that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. I now put the question that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say, will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I propose the question that Clause 6 is part of the bill. Chairperson?
Honorable Chair, I move that Clause 6 be amended as per the order paper. The reason being that the appointment of a chairperson by the President is in line with the Mwongozo Code.
I propose the question that Clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. The Honorable Ndai.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, you know, I have an issue with this continuous reference to Mwongozo. No, Mwongozo is subsidiary legislation. And this act, if you look at the context in which it is drafted, look at the spirit, not just the letter of this bill, is such that it seeks to empower farmers and key and primary stakeholders in the sugar sector. So how I wish, therefore, that even the task of appointing an executive chairperson be placed on the shoulders of the key stakeholders who are farmers, the primary stakeholders, rather than allowing a president to meddle in the affairs of the sugar board, essentially the subsector. That is my view.
Thank you.
And therefore, I'm opposed to this on the basis of that understanding.
The Honorable Kegombe.
Mr. Chair, in as much as I agree with what the leader of minority is saying, the danger of that is that we've not started this structure from the grassroots. I know what you mean, like it happens in tea. But then, for them to be able to elect someone at the head, you will need to have come from the ground. And now the way the mills are right now, we do not have proper representation, so it will not go to the end. But I know what you mean ultimately. It is a desired position, but right now it is difficult to do that because we do not have proper representation of farmers in these mills all the way up. And when we tried to do in the report, we are saying that we want probably to have electoral areas And this is what we are trying to make and have not been done. So as it is right now, it is difficult.
Thank you.
Honorable
Members,
Chair.
I put the question that Honorable Nabuera.
Yes, Chair. I think I'm persuaded by what the stakeholders in the sugar sector came up with. We just had even a conference over the weekend. The position of the stakeholders in the sugar sector is very clear, that because the directors are elected sectorally, the directors themselves, among themselves, elect a chairman of the board. And that is critical, Chair.
I'm listening to you.
That is critical if we have to come out of the quagmire the sugar industry has been in. We cannot carry out election of directors, and when it comes to the chairman, a person is appointed from outside who may not even understand what sugar is.
The Honorable Makali.
In the sugar conference, we want to put farmers, we resolve to put farmers at the center of governance in the sugar sector. If the directors are elected by the farmers, I actually support the amendment posed by the minority leader that the chairman should actually be elected by the farmers. Thank you.
Members, this must go either way. I now put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. Clause 6 be amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Will as many as contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it. Is a further amendment to clause 6, the Honorable Karoli Omondi.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I rise to propose that clause 6 be amended by inserting at least minimum relevant years of experience for purposes of appointment of the CEO. And my proposal is 15 years. Because as it is currently in the bill, even somebody who left university yesterday can actually be the CEO. The relevant experience is not quantifiable in terms of the current drafting of the bill. So I propose that a minimum period of 15 years relevant experience
Thank you.
to be CEO. Thank you.
Members, I propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Karoli Omondi. I now put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by Honorable Karoli Omondi. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clause 6 as a further amendment by the Honorable Willoughby Owundo.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 6 be amended as indicated in the order paper, and the purpose or the objective of that amendment, Chair and members, is that to avoid brokers, to avoid outsiders, to avoid aggregators, let those people being appointed to represent farmers in the board be farmers, so to speak. And for you to be a farmer, you must own either a piece of land or a leased piece of land, and you must produce some amount of sugarcane at any given time to avoid cases where imposters, traders will come and take up the position of the farmers. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 6 be further amended as proposed by Honorable Willoughby Owundo of Funyula. Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I want to support that amendment. And it's because, as the Honorable Member has said, we cannot entertain a guest on the table, yet, Honorable Chair, we are discussing about farmers. So it's important we get someone to join, to be in when he is a true farmer who must own land and be practicing. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. And now put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Willoughby Owundo. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
the Honorable I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. The Honorable Karoli, you have an amendment to this.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I propose an amendment to clause 7, and maybe I think I should say a further amendment, because when I reflected on my initial proposal, I think we need to have some further amendment.
Do you want to consult the chair first before you do that?
Yes, let me come.
The chair or the mover? Whom are you consulting?
The chair. Actually, it is just drafting. It's a drafting technique. If you look at clause 7, it says a person appointed as chairperson. We know it is going, the chairperson will be elected. Yeah, the chairperson will be elected. Yes. And then, if you read the drafting, the renewability seems to be automatic, yet that should not be the case, because these directors have to go back for elections after they've served their first term of 3 years. So my proposal is that the renewal is subject to fresh elections by the farmers. That is my proposal, Honorable Chair.
Do you want to propose, do you want to approach the mover so that we make this very quick?
Yes.
Just support the mover in 30 seconds. The mover is Honorable Wangwe.
Yes.
What is the amendment? So I came with my bill here. And so that I want to see what is doing. It's amending. Okay. So I therefore propose the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Karoli Omondi. I put the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Karoli Omondi. Will as another opinion say aye? Will as another counter opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The Honorable Karoli has another amendment to clause 2. You dropped it? Okay. The Chair of Agriculture and Livestock.
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 7 be amended as per the order paper. We are only making a correction.
What are you correcting, Dr. Mutunga?
Chair, if you look at the phrase is 6 into bracket 1, A is missing. It's supposed to be 6(1)A.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's a typo. Members, I propose the question that clause 7 be further amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. I put the question that clause 7 be further amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. Will as many other opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 7 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. Honorable Mutunga.
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 8 be amended as per the order paper. The idea is to correct a typological error.
A typo. I now propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. I put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by Honorable Mutunga. Will the man of that opinion say aye? Will the man of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. There's a further amendment, the Honorable Owundo.
Chair, it's again a consequential amendment based on the passage that has been, the amendments we have done under clause 6. So essentially what we are saying, Honorable Chair, that if somebody who sat in the board ceases to be a farmer or a grower of sugar or sugar producing crops, that person should cease to sit on the board. That's all that we are saying. Just a consequence, as a consequence of the one we have passed under clause 6. Thank you, Chair.
Members, I propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Owundo. I put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Owundo. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 8 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 9, 10, and 11.
Members, I propose the question that clauses 9, 10, and 11 be part of the bill. I put the question that clauses 9, 10, and 11 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
Members, I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Honorable Karoli.
Thank you very much. That is clause 12. I propose that we amend clause 12 as is in the order paper. Honorable Chair, I think we just passed a similar clause in the previous bill, but I think it was a very big mistake. We were not allowed to speak. There are limits to delegation. There's something in law we call permissible delegation, and there are limits to it. What is the way this particular clause is currently drafted, it would mean that the board is actually divesting itself of all its core functions. It can do so. And it can divest itself of all power. It can confer those powers and functions on a different entity, who is even a stranger, somebody called an agent of the board. There's a reason why boards are created and given that legal identity for decision making. So I propose that we allow delegation, but we limit it to board committees. Yes. And if we have to stretch it, it can only be the chief executive, not to every stranger, agent, or whatever. It's a very risky thing. Thank you.
Members, I propose a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Karoli Omondi. The Honorable Wangwe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to oppose that proposal by Honorable Karoli, because, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the way the wording of my bill reads, it's very particular. It says, the board may, not shall, may, either generally or in any particular case. Honorable Speaker, there are particular cases. Should there be an issue to investigate a matter and is touching on a particular employee, the board can assign a particular manager to deal with that circumstance. Could there be a conflict of interest touching on the senior manager, the board can now come down and nominate or appoint any other employee to deal with the situation. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, this amendment is opposed.
This has to go either way. We just had a debate about a similar amendment a few minutes ago. I now put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by Honorable Omondi. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of that opinion say nay? The nays have it. I now put the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Honorable Karoli.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I propose that we amend clause 13 as proposed in the order paper by deleting the word remuneration, because it implies even payment of a basic salary, which I don't think is the case with our boards. I think we should limit it to allowances and the typical payments to directors. Thank you.
I propose the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by Honorable Karoli Omondi. I put the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Karoli. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 13 be amended as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. The Honorable Mutunga.
Honorable Chair, I move that clause 14 be amended as per the under paper. This is to provide for competitive recruitment of the CEO and the consultation with the Public Service Commission.
I propose the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. I put the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Mutunga. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The further amendment by the Honorable Wilberforce Owundo.
Chair, it is a very minor amendment and probably we need further guidance. Yes, in the amendment proposed by the chair, they talked about recruitment by Public Service Commission. My amendment lends to the fact that the remunerations and the terms must be done in consultation with the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. So we are just adding SRC in the process because that's what the law requires, that's what the Constitution requires. So it's just a consequential amendment which we can just, if members agree, we can let it pass.
Thank you. I propose a question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Owundo. I now put the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Owundo. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 14 as amended is part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clauses 15, 16, and 17.
I propose the question that clauses 15, 16, and 17 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 15, 16, and 17 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Members, I request your presence in the House.
Clause 18.
I propose the question that clause 18 be part of the bill. Honorable Karoli.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Actually, this
Honorable Karoli, 1 minute. What is out of order?
Honorable Chair, I rise understanding order number 95, and I seek your guidance, Chair, as to whether we have enough quorum to transact the business. Thank you, Chair.
No, can we ascertain if you have quorum first before we go to the next point of order? Members walking out, you're not allowed to walk out once we say we are ascertaining the numbers in the House. Looking at arms, can we ascertain how many we have? I order that the bell be rung for 10 minutes.
An election of the chairman when there are only 5 people who
in the board who are elected by the people. That's wrong. The rest are but why are people moving out? I don't know. Chair. Now bell is ringing.
First of all, is it in 705? And the 95 is calling the movement to reply.
No, you called for quorum.
No, but
No more, just no more. There are no numbers. He said there are no numbers. He said there are no numbers.
Okay. But then, under the special seating arrangement framework, and it says clearly in the executive that until the business is complete. Yes, but this is not the
You see, the speaker, when he started, we had an issue of numbers. He rang the bell, and the numbers were able to attain the numbers.
Do you want to commit any bill?
Yes.
So what you do, the areas where you are not satisfied, you commit and explain to your members. Exactly. In other words, you commit and explain. Even that room is there. Even that 17. I don't think it's together.
Just notice the areas you want in your document.
Unless
They have to have a direction. Chair.
if this is to proceed, you have to move it down. I feel like asking you what points did the organization explain? And then we take a chance to explain. Because every time, but then if you not notice it, every time before I give, I always look at your place. But every time I always look at every time before I give out, I normally look at you and you first. Yeah. If there's quorum,
you can sit somewhere.
If there's quorum, you guys sit together.
You can sit somewhere here. If you get quorum.
That's why that thing on Karoli asked the council. And even the chair, because the bill is this, you need to keep.
Yeah, talking to him. But he's now been very fast. Now,
because like Karoli brought like that, we have to then
that election of the
and even this
remuneration is just salaries. Why do you remove? I mean, the recruitment is by Public Service Commission.
Yes, I'm saying that. Come and say remuneration. What was that now remuneration? That's what they had in all the bills. But it's simply because okay, so
yeah, they have been but coming. They're
every time.
What I did, I looked at the bill up to a certain point. Nimeangalia mpaka 2000 progress, so nikawaambia wafanye progress. Unaona nilikuwa nimemake notes. The ones that I don't make sense.
You are saying what? You are saying
what? 50.
My colleague.
So maybe I can take
wrong for no Aurora. But I don't think there's going to be necessary. It's no quorum. Unless we let other leaders to come back.
So your cousin?
Yes,
quorum, just go back to the house and report the fact.
My report. Mama was supposed to be here. Asiende mwite. Mwite. Mwitika. Namna gani ndio? Uko sawa? Tafuta watu ulete bana.
Wametoroka. Tumeingia hapa watu wakisema tu wanaenda. Hakuna kura itapatikana hapa.
The house is in committee, the church and the chair and report the public to the speaker, which are like the house will be in We don't have to. Let's say the committee has considered the bill up to close
and they leave to sit next time.
There's no quorum.
Yes. There's no belief in case was kind of quorum. What happened if they
It says, if the house is in committee, the chairperson shall leave the chair and report to the public speaker, who shall adjourn the house until the next. We just report that the house has considered that bill up to clause 18. Bad. But it says until conclusion of business. So what chair will do, will have to get one member to come here. Then you just report the fact that Honorable Speaker, we have considered the sugar bill up to close 18, and there was no quorum. Which clause was that? It's number 30.
So 35. So I need to cite that too. I need to cite with my report.
No, it's the speaker to cite. So the speaker will say in this case.
No. He says the chairperson shall leave the chair and report the fact.
Yes. Person the proposal is somebody that arrived. Yes. Then to report that the house has considered, the committee has considered this bill. However, there's no quorum. The speaker then adjourns. For adjournment. You guys adjourn. We have not even no. We have not even 26 summer 26. We're coming back on 26.
There's some more. Call him here. Call him to come. adjourn the house? So what happened? How do you adjourn the house?
No, there is a particular schedule. So in that case, just saying that in the absences for the house is like that until this take an order. Resume your seats. Okay, resume seats.
What am
So that you stop the bell, then you leave.
Huh?
Stop the bell and then.
Members, resume your seat. The bell has stopped ringing.
Honorable Chair, we are in unprecedented times. It is the first time in the history of this House, for as long as I've been here, that members of the House deliberately walk out during the third committee of the whole House to deny the House quorum. That cannot go unsaid. And it beggars question as to what is the motive behind such brazen walkout at a critical moment when we are dealing with a serious bill
Point made,
that
Honorable.
touches on the livelihood of millions of Kenyans.
Thank you,
in the
Honorable.
Western
Honorable
Kenya
Ndai,
sugar
the
belt.
point is made.
Mr. Chair.
The point is made. Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order 35, we'll proceed to report progress on this matter.
Order, members. Resume your seats. Order, members. Resume your seats. Veteran, relax. Take your seat. Thank you. Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to report that the committee in the whole has considered in committee the sugar bill up to clause 14. Honorable Speaker, I now wish to report up to clause 17. Honorable Speaker, upon which it was reported that there's no quorum. Honorable Speaker, and under Standing Order 35(2)B, therefore report that there was no quorum, and therefore yet to adjourn. Thank you.
Give me a mic. Honorable members, having rang the bell for 10 minutes and there being no quorum, honorable members, and time being 8:13 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, 26 September 2023 at 2:30 p.m. You may be on your feet.